during the program. Balanced comments. Now it's time for McCollum Wellness Radio.
There's too many of you crying. Brother, brother, brother. There's far too many of you dying. You know I need to bring some love here today. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from McCollum Wellness Radio, coming right off the back of Tom Quinn's show with Dr. Robert Young. And what a great amount of information. And if you all are interested in that and that made sense to you, then I think you will like the rest of what I'm going about, as Paul Harvey used to say, and now the rest of the story. Because the stuff that Tom and Dr. Young are talking about, regardless of where it's coming from, we have 87,000 chemicals that have been dumped into the environment since the turn of 2 centuries ago. These are so toxic, our liver can't handle it, it becomes clogged, and as Dr. Young was saying, our body's inability to get this stuff out of our system, because number one, evolution didn't occur quick enough in our bodies so that we could actually recognize and then dump that stuff. It gets stuck in the interstitium or the lymphatic tissue, goes around to the cells, 87 or 75 trillion cells in the body. All of the cells have a lipid bilayer on them. That means a fatty layer, one on the outside and inside with water in the middle. It's called a bilayer, 2 layers of oil. Toxins, heavy metals, molds, all hide inside of oils or of fats. Our brain is made of fat. So the accumulation of all these toxins in our body over a period of time are going to do exactly what Dr. Young said. They're going to get inside the cell. They're going to turn on bad genes, unhealthy genes, whether they're cancer genes, things like Parkinson's disease, rheumatoid arthritis. All of these various types of diseases or autoimmune diseases occur because our body is toxic. And when our body's toxic, we have 4 different detox pathways to get rid of this stuff. That would be through the liver and the large intestine, the bladder through the kidneys, the skin, and then the lungs. And the 5th one is your mental attitude. What you think about, you talk about. What you talk about, you bring about. Okay, so I want to go into what you can do, because yeah, there's a lot. It's a ball rolling downhill really quickly. It's like in Raiders of the Lost Ark, or whichever one that was, or Tomb Raider, where the ball's rolling down as fast as it can and you can't get out of the way. Well, that's our environment. That's what's going on with the increased ill health in our country. It used to be 1 out of 7 women would get breast cancer, like 8 or 9 years ago. Now it's considered 1 out of 3 women will get breast cancer. The increase in toxicity. Hidden infections are so important in this, and oftentimes we miss where they are, where we find those. So I'm going to go into a lot of this today. I also am going to give you the most important thing that you can do for your health, the thing that's going to work better than anything else you will ever try, and the thing that's going to work specifically for you. So I will go into that in a little while, what it is, what's absolutely the most effective thing to help you with your health. And there's absolutely no doubt that this is going to be what it takes. Okay, so appreciate you all being here. Appreciate Tom Quinn and the gang really setting the stage. And, also, I'm going to take a sidestep here. I'm really happy to announce that Best of Good Times came out. And once again, for, I don't know, it's been 20 years, 15, 20 years, however long they've been doing it, we were rated this year Best Chiropractor in Santa Cruz. That's awesome. We've been runner-up a few times, but we've always been in the top 2. We are the best, rated the best chiropractor in Santa Cruz this year. So thank you, all of you that voted for me and my office. I appreciate it. We really have high standards to try to hold ourselves up to that. So I just appreciate everybody voting for us. And also, I was the runner-up best local author in for Best of Santa Cruz, the best author. So I've written 6 books, 4 historical fiction books, dealing with traveling across the country in 1850, ending up in Monterey. My family's been in Monterey for 5 generations. We got there in 1848. So I've written several fiction books, historical fiction, a lot of facts. And then, of course, New Hope for Sciatica and Turn Back Your Biological Clock, both of which were bestsellers on Amazon. You can find all of my books on Amazon. So I appreciate you taking time to vote for me. And the 2 health books really are going to lay out what I'm talking about today. If you have any interest in turning back your biological clock or detoxifying your body, which in essence is the same thing, then those books will be helpful. But I'm going to go into a lot of that today. Let's see. I think what I'm going to do to begin with, though, is I'm going to go to my first commercial break, and I will be back in just 1 minute. Duncan McCollum, and I have a patient, John, here, and John heard us on KSCO and came in to try the $49 TRT special. After a couple treatments, you started to feel something pretty tremendous.
Originally, I heard about it on the radio, and I was a little apprehensive, but I came in and got the treatment, and miraculously, I mean, immediately I got relief. And we're talking about 3 years of 24/7 neuropathy, all kinds of pain, medical doctors. And in one treatment, it changed my life. I mean, it gave my life back because I was able to function and do things and not be in excruciating pain and get some sleep. And I'm going to continue to come back, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's been suffering from chronic pain.
Great, thank you so much. Call Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Family Chiropractic, 459-9990-831, 459-9990, and ask for your $49 stem cell treatment today. Thanks, have a great day.
Talk to me, so you can see what's going on. What's going on?
Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm back. What is going on? Marvin Gates asking us that question. Fish full of mercury, toxins all over the place, chronic disease, the highest it's ever been in our lifetime and in the history of man on this planet, or human beings on this planet. 1 out of 80 million Americans, that's almost 1/3 of us, have multiple chronic diseases. So again, what we were talking about and what Dr. Robert Young was talking about with Tom Quinn is why are we getting so sick? Regardless of any motive behind it, that's not my place to question, but my place is to say something can be done about it. You can do the 3-month detox program that we've been running. So several people have gone through this recently. We've done it in the last several years, many times. And basically, what we know is the heavy metals, molds, and hidden infections love to hide in dark places like cavitations in your jaw, root canals. One of them was hiding out in my appendix until it ruptured, almost killed me. So even though you think you eat well or drink the right water, or you don't put bad deodorant on and you don't use bad cosmetics, you are still susceptible to the elements out there. So one thing you can do is you can detox your body. Now, this isn't just go to the shelf and get a 7-day detox program. That's like it's not a bad thing. It's like if you spilled red wine on a white carpet and you wiped it up so you can't see it, it's not going to stop it from keep continuing to soak through from the bottom again and again and again until you take the rug up, cut out the under carpet, put in a new piece, and make sure the carpet's clean. You don't have a chance of getting that red mark from coming up on that carpet. And that's the way our bodies are. That's the way toxins are in our body. It's a lifetime process. Why? Because when we are born, we have 4 generations of moms, heavy metals coming down through mom's umbilical blood. So great grandma's grandma's grandma, all of the mercury, the lead in their teeth, the lead generation. We know that 278 toxins come through the umbilical blood of children not even born outside the womb yet. So detoxing starts at the get-go. And you know, a lot of times this toxic load is so great in little kids that you add the additional toxins from once they come into this world. You know, it could be where you live. It could be that you live near fields that are sprayed with all the DDT and the other things that Dr. Young was talking about. It may be that you get your own dose of toxins, trying to prevent disease and get you immune to different things. What makes one child susceptible to such and others not? It's a simple equation of what's your toxic load. And there's a variable in that, which is how big is your cup? Is it a small toxic load cup? As soon as it's filled, you're sick. If it's a big one like George Burns, you can dump in there all your life and you'll never get sick. The point is you can do something about it. And this is what I am trained to do through Dr. Dan Pompa and several other of the healthcare providers around the country. We specialize in this. It's now, I want to tell you one thing. I promised at the beginning of the show that I'm going to tell you the most effective technique in detoxifying your body, the most effective technique in losing weight, the most effective technique in changing your life. And that is simply what you're willing to do. Because I can have the best diet, the best detox program, the best exercise thing, you know, the fanciest equipment, but if you're not willing to make a change, nothing's going to work. So the most effective thing you can do is that thing which you are willing to do. So find the right thing, because life is sometimes like a labyrinth or a maze. You think it looks great going down this corridor, you know, and you go down the corridor with bells and whistles, and you know, all of a sudden you come to a dead end and there's a guy with a, you know, puts a bag over your head and you're done. You know, and you just need to find your way through that labyrinth. It's very difficult because the powers that be have us believing that our bodies do not have the ability to heal themselves anymore, that there is no innate intelligence that can heal our bodies, that it has to be done through a medication or a drug or a surgery, which if that were true, we would have gone extinct years ago, decades ago, lifetimes ago. Our bodies have sustained and made us the most intelligent animals on the planet with a sentient understanding. I mean, we can reason, all right? But why is it that we are the most advanced culture ever, but we're yet the sickest, living off of disease? And the pharmaceutical companies are the richest, some of the richest organizations in the world. I think Dr. Jason Fung, nephrologist, said it best. If you could make a drug that didn't cure the person of the disease, but it didn't kill them either, how long would that person need to be on that disease? Forever, you know, as long as they didn't want the disease to get away from them. How many diseases and drugs are people on? Well, we know that 1/3 of the people in the United States have multiple chronic diseases, 1/3. Michigan University, look it up. We're rated 47th in the world for health. There's 46 countries healthier than us. We take 50, I've even heard up to 70% of all the drugs in the world, and we're only 4% of the world population. Something's just not right. I mean, I challenge you to get a piece of paper and write those statistics down And if it doesn't make you scratch your head and wonder what's up, then I don't think we can help you. But if you do want to do something, and if you listen to the previous show with Dr. Young and Tom Quinn, then, you know, there is toxins in our environment. We live in the most toxic time in history of our planet. So, you know, you can do something about it. I hope that you are finding strategic, effective things to do that actually get a result. Now, that doesn't mean feeling better, because you can drink a bottle of whiskey or take a bottle of some kind of medication and feel better, but that doesn't mean your body is functioning better. So, you know, function means operating well. I had a meeting with my staff, I think it was Thursday, and we were talking about, you know, I don't have a huge staff. There's 6, 7 of us. However, even though we have techniques and strategies and policies and procedures on how to run the office and how to have a patient come into the office, find out, number one, if we can even help them. Our first goal is to find out, are you in the right place? Because I sure don't want you there if I can't help you. But we were talking, it was like kind of one of those moments where it was a little rough inside the office, and one staff member was getting on the other staff member, and it was kind of heated. And I talked to them and said, you know, this is what happens when you have a dysfunctional body. So much energy is going in trying to get that body up out of bed in the morning, because it's all fighting itself. The liver's overwhelmed, the kidneys are overwhelmed, the heart doesn't want to beat right, your blood's full of too much junk, including cholesterol and probably sugar. Your hormones are all out of whack. Your cortisol is keeping you awake all night, and your female or male hormones are keeping you unhappy. Oh yeah, there goes the alarm. Get out and go kick it. You know, go out there and just have a great day. Good luck getting out of bed. You know, good luck having an office operate right if you guys can't communicate. So just like that office, we have to sit down and talk about, okay, now where did we go wrong? Where's the procedure? Could we have handled this person better? Should we have accepted that person as a patient? Do you think we can help them? You know, whatever it is, and we work it out, and then we all go, okay, let's go out and see who else we can help. But if we didn't do that, the office would have gone into non-existence long ago. So that's the way your body is. You've got 75 trillion cells that are all supposed to get along and operate well. You have systems to feed those cells, systems to detoxify those cells, systems to give them signals from the brain so that cells know what to do. So the whole body's working harmoniously together. And then you add all of these toxins that they were talking about on the last show, you know, and Tom was reading off a lot of the heavy metals that are in our water: arsenic, lead, mercury, cadmium, cesium, uranium, all of that stuff. And that accumulates, especially the mercury and lead. Those are the worst. We got lead because I was born in the lead generation, and that went on for quite a while, probably all the way back to Rome, when they lined their water troughs with lead and they all went crazy. So, you know, lead is one of the worst toxins there is. It gets in your bone, and one of the the number one symptom of overdosing on lead is depression. Mercury, fish full of mercury. Just listen to Marvin Gaye, decades ago wrote that song. You can't even eat a fish in the Sierras if you're of childbearing years and you're a woman. Just look up this California fishing guide, whatever that is, you know? And so all of these toxins, we know they're there, yet we're not doing enough to get them out of our environment. And even worse, we're not telling the peoples of Earth, the peoples of Earth, about them, so that there is a way to get rid of them. We do a heavy metal test. Now, it's not a hair analysis. Some people do those, they're okay. And a blood analysis is not that accurate. The most sophisticated heavy metal test is a urine test with a provoking agent. And we can get those at our office, but sometimes those metals are so engrossed in your body's trying to do the thing it knows how to do best, which is survive. That's the body's purpose. Every living organism on the planet wants to survive. So it's going to wall off toxins in the environment. You know, if you're trying to survive as a family member, and you have one of, let's say, an older brother or sister who's just ripping you a new one, just giving you the hardest time, you would succumb unless you walled them off, unless you built a wall to block that antagonistic behavior from squishing you. Unfortunately, not enough people recover from that, and their lives are not realized as the greatness that they could be. But that's what happens when you have these toxins that are stuck in our body. They stop us from achieving the physical health that we need, and the mental health too, because those toxins, the heavy metals, molds, and all that stuff get in our brain, which is fat, and they limit our energy level. They disrupt our hormones, probably before it causes things like cancer and Parkinson's and autoimmune disease. Probably the greatest effect these toxins have on our bodies are disrupted hormones, hormone disruptors. Now, every cell in your body has little signal locations on the cell, receptors, that are designed to get all of the different hormones that your brain is putting out through what's called the endocrine system. And those hormones, when they go through your body, based on what your brain's perception is of what's going on, it's going to send signals to the cells on what to do, whether it's run, eat, rest, reproduce, expand, or what have you. When those cells are the cell receptors are so plugged up or altered because of the toxins that we've been talking about, what Dr. Young was talking about, through the interstitium, flushing just dirty water against the cells, those hormones can't get the signal on the cell. The cells don't know what to do. They go crazy. The cells, the mitochondria inside the cell starts to dysfunction. And then that's when you develop things like cancers. They all develop inside the mitochondria. It's considered a metabolic disorder. So if you had a river going down your backyard and it was filled with toxic sewage, and that was splashing into your house and your water system, that would kill you, right? Well, when your body can't detoxify itself, and when you're not having, I'm just going to be frank here, when you're not having 2 to 3 bowel movements a day, and some people, when they come in, say, oh yeah, 3 a week or 1 a week, you know, on a good month, your body's got so much toxic waste built up in it that gets recirculated through the lymphatic system, around and around through those cells. Eventually, it's going to get you. It may take a while, but eventually it's going to get you. So as the great Albert King used to say in one of his songs, if the washing don't get you, the rinsing sure will. And the washing, in this case, would be all of that accumulated stuff that's built up in our body. And if we don't rinse it out, it's going to cause cancer or cause some kind of disease that's going to cause us to die eventually. Very few people die of natural causes anymore. Most people die of a chronic disease. Alzheimer's, dementia, and all this stuff is getting more and more prevalent because the toxicity in the brain, because we're not detoxifying the body. Alzheimer's is also called diabetes type 3, too much insulin on the brain. 60% of the people in the United States are diabetic or pre-diabetic. In 2019, when I published my book, Turn Back Your Biological Clock, it was estimated that 50% of the people in the United States were diabetic or pre-diabetic. Now it's 60% in 3 or 4 years. Why? Because the cells cannot function well. We eat terrible diets loaded up with fake food, devoid of vitamins, filled with glyphosate, heavy metals, molds, foods that have been altered so much from their from what they are like in nature that our body doesn't recognize them. And it's not even that our body doesn't recognize them, because our body doesn't digest anything. Our body doesn't digest food. It's the microbiome in our gut. It's 100 trillion bacteria and such in our gut, in our large intestine, that digests every single bit of food we put in our mouth. So we can't digest food without it going in through a microbiome, whether it's in our mouth, it gets mixed with saliva, in our gut, We get different type of acids in there for the proteins. It goes through, eventually through we get the products of the bacterial breakdown of the substances we put into our body become our nutrients, hopefully. And you got to have good guys making those nutrients. If you have bad guys, they're making toxic waste. You know, I shouldn't even use this analogy, and so I won't. But you've got, well, you know, trying to think of one that would make more sense, but that's okay. What we need to do is we just got to decide. Again, I'm going to tell you the best technique for getting well on this planet for you, and specifically for you, nobody else. All you listeners are unique. The one that's actually going to change your life is the one you are willing to do. If you're not willing to do it, nothing will matter. You know, you can sit and scratch your head and scratch your belly and, you know, wonder what happened, or you can make something happen. So we're here to help with that. If anybody's interested in the detox program, which you should be, because heck, if you listen to Dr. Young and Tom, I can't help but piggyback off of it. They're telling you what's out there. I'm telling you how to help fix your body, or at least start the fixing of your body, so you can reverse the toxins damage and turn back your biological clock. So again, you can find those online, Amazon, Turn Back Your Biological Clock by Dr. Duncan McCollum, or you can also find New Hope for Sciatica. And I'm just going to take a moment and brag a little bit. I really appreciate you guys voting me as second best author in the local community. Locally, the second best author. I appreciate that. The runner-up. I've got a new book coming out. I'm going to hold on to the title for right now, but people I'm talking to about it are really loving it. It's a health book. It's going to be my third in the health series, the second of New Hope. So I've got a New Hope for sciatica. My next one is New Hope for something else that I think you'll be really interested in. I think I'll probably end up with a New Hope series along the way. So anyway, thank you for voting me best author, second best author. Please read my books if you haven't got them. I'd love to hear what you think about them. They're all on Amazon, all four historical fictions. I don't usually talk about them much, but since I did get a runner-up for best author, I thought, well, why not make a plug out there? Maybe you guys will find them entertaining. I sure had fun writing them. And also, I appreciate everybody for voting me, Dr. Duncan McCollum. McCollum Family Chiropractic is the best chiropractor in Santa Cruz on Good Times Best Of. And we've hit that target many, many times, either the best or second best. And whenever we get second best, I'm very humbled and go, we got to try harder. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so I think we're going to go ahead and take another break here, and appreciate you all listening. This is going to be about the stem cell machine, the TRT machine, the $49 special. Don't, you know, it's not going to help everybody, but it helps most people, and it's worth a try. Come in and talk to me. We'll see, you know, we'll find out. I'll give you my idea at first, but the 49 bucks, you know, what the heck? You'll blow that somewhere. You might as well, you know, find out if it could improve your quality of life. So we're going to listen to one of my patients, and I'll be back in a sec.
Pick it light and pick it soft. Don't punish me with brutality.
Hey, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I have this amazing patient, Lauren, here, and she had a few things to say.
Hi, I'm Lauren Spencer, a local realtor, and I've been seeing Duncan for years now. I had a biking accident, and he's been adjusting me since then, and it's been amazing. But lately, I've had trouble with my feet, and I'm an avid walker, avid biker, avid golfer, and my feet were aching all the time. And I tried Duncan's TRT machine, which is an amazing stem cell machine that rejuvenates the cells. And my feet, I've had like 3 or 4 sessions with the machine and my feet are like new, no aches, no pains. It's a miracle. So I really highly recommend Duncan and his chiropractic services, but also that TRT machine. You got to try it.
Wow, thanks, Lauren. That was awesome. So we still have the $49 special. Come on in and see if it works for you. Thank you.
What's going on? What's going on?
Hey, everybody, Dr. McCollum back. What's going on? Absolutely. Marvin Gaye, what's going on? What's going on with you? What's going on with your health? What's going on with your dreams and goals? And maybe it's time to take a look and just take stock of where you're at and make a decision to improve it a little bit. And if you want to do that with your health, I can help you. If what you've been hearing on the shows makes sense to you about the insults to our body by our environment, regardless of how they've got there, they do cause cancer, they do cause autoimmune disease, a lot of the hidden infections at a cellular level, a lot of the hidden infections are putting out toxins that affect your health at a cellular level, and they affect the cell membrane, and then the cell membrane can't work right. And we got to realize the cells are life. That's what every cell is, a little life thing, trying to work together as an organ, all together as a body. And when they're in harmony, we are kicking it. When they're in disharmony, we're kicking. We're kicking the bucket. So, where is your gauge there? If you have kicking it on one side and kicking the bucket on the other, and you put your hand as a gauge going right to left, which one are you heading towards? If you're heading down towards the kicking the bucket one, there's something you can do about it. And it's up to you. And again, they're the best technique. The most important thing for you to know is the only thing that's going to work is that thing that you're going to do. Now you got to find something that makes sense, something that is proven to work. Snake oils sometimes are the right way to go, but you want tried and true. You want to find the science. A lot of the stuff we do has to do with the Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Yoshinori Asumi, who won the Nobel Prize in 2016 for the word autophagy. And what that means is the body breaks down the bad, weak cells in the body in order to keep the healthy ones growing. And what Dr. Asumi discovered is when you fast for 72 hours, autophagy is at its greatest. So as your body is running out of fuel, which is sugar or glucose, and fat, which is ketones, it's going to scavenge your body looking for anything that's useless or harmful that it can devour and burn for energy. That's amazing. These bodies are phenomenally amazing. They know what to do. They don't need any help. They just need no interference. So what we do is we remove the interference. So another thing that Dr. Young mentioned was the cells grow old. They're called senescent cells or senile cells. He was talking about an apple, a rotten apple in a bowl of apples is going to make pretty soon, if you don't get that rotten apple out of there, the whole bowl of apples will rot. Well, this is what happens in your cells, in your body, in your organs. When you get a bad liver, bad kidney, heart, lung, spleen, what have you, even my appendix, reproductive organs, be it breasts or whatever. When you get one bad cell in there, your body is going to go and try to destroy it as a foreign invader. It works together synergistically to wipe those out. And but when it's so confused, trying to fight internal arguments from the liver, the kidney, the gallbladder, the spleen, the brain, all of that stuff, it can't see it. There's so much noise that bad cell is allowed to spoil the rest of the apples in the dish. So you get a tumor growing, you get a bad bunch of aberrant cells growing, and with a goal, by the way. They don't think they're trying to kill you. They just want to survive. These aberrant cells go, hey, we're in a hostile environment. We've got to survive. So let's kill the host so that we can survive. Kind of crazy concept, right? The cancer is going to try to kill the host that's keeping it alive because it thinks it's an antagonist. So the cells in our body have a funny, well, there's a term called apoptosis, A-P-O-P-tosis, T-O-S-I-S, which means programmed cell death. Our cells are supposed to live so long and then die. It's like a life cycle of a cell. You know, heart cells, or stomach cells are last 5 days. Heart cells, 90 days. Muscle cells, 120 days. They're constantly reproducing and rebuilding ourselves. The same DNA blueprint that made a cell when we were 5 is making a cell when we're 60. Making the same DNA blueprint is replicating a cell when we're 80 as it does when we're 5. Why do these cells look different or get older or sag more if it's the same DNA? A lot of it has to do with the fact that this DNA is, because of the toxin in the environment, they're wearing it out. You know, this is where turning back your biological clock comes in. You should read the book and you can understand it a little better. I can't go and do it the whole thing on the show here. But if we want to turn back our biological clock, we have to get rid of the old weak cells, cull the herd, so to speak. That's what the wolves used to do to the buffalo back in the day. They would cull the herd. Wolf pack would come around, they would surround the herd, and then the weakest ones would become part of the evolutionary system. And the wolves would survive and it would go on. So in our bodies, our body culls the herd through, number one, apoptosis, which is planned cell death, programmed cell death, and also through autophagy, self-eating. So your body would recognize a well-run body with not a lot of confusions and bad signals going back and forth and toxins disrupting everything. A well-run body would recognize that senescent cell. Senescent means senile. It's done, its days are done. It's not doing any good. It's sitting there just collecting, eating food, doing nothing for the body, but being diseased. And what it does is it takes the cells next to it with it, just like a rotten apple. So when you do a properiod, and you've got to do this correctly when you get into the intermittent fasting with ketogenic diet, which we teach in our office, do it correctly so it doesn't cause more harm than good, then your body is going to go, I've got to go find a bowl of rotten apples to eat. And it's going to go through your body and it's going to find the weak, dying, or dangerous, toxic portions in your body, whether they're your cells. All of those rotten apples could be your cells, but it also could be a ball of bacteria that's growing somewhere in a bad tooth, in your gums, in my appendix, under a fingernail, you know, in an old bump on an elbow that you got from crawling under a house and it just created a bump, and eventually the toxins inside that bump poisoned your whole system and gave you the parency of a wasting disease, a wasting disorder where you're losing all your muscle. Bodies don't do that out of, by themselves. Something is affecting the genetic blueprint, and something is also affecting your body's ability to do what it's supposed to do, which is survive. So your body has this innate intelligence to survive. In chiropractic, we call it innate, and DJ Palmer used to say the body heals from above, down, inside out. Above, spiritually through the brain, down through the spinal cord, inside out to the organs. So when you get a signal from an organ that there's a rotten apple in there, that signal gets to the brain. The brain sends down rotten apple eaters to go and gobble it up. And then it does its job. It goes on and passes the baton to the next group of immune cells or bad body part eating cells to do its job. Now, one of the things, because of the huge amount of heavy metals, molds, hidden infections, toxins, chemicals like glyphosate, if you don't know about glyphosate, look up Stephanie Seneff, Senniff, and she was a professor at MIT, and she went to the Senate subcommittee with so much evidence on glyphosate, showing the correlation of graphs equaling each other. The increase in glyphosate increases so many chronic diseases on this planet. And, of course, the Senate, it fell on deaf ears. We never know what makes Senate tick or not tick. The money that stays around in there, and it may not be your elected officials, it's the guys that have been there forever that are waiting for the Senate chairs to pass so they can keep doing whatever they do. But regardless of that, you need to clean up your body. Glyphosate is toxic. Eat healthy food. Quit putting bad stuff under your armpit. Get the toxic stuff out of your house. White vinegar cleans better than most of that stuff. And listen to what Dr. Young was saying about the water. Are you drinking bottled water? Have you had, he was talking about the graphene particles for a minute. And they are charged, positively and negatively charged, just like all the elements, just like all of the lead and mercury are positively and negatively charged. All of the heavy metals, chemicals are positively and negatively charged. So one thing in the detox program we use a specialized product called Detox, which is a zeolite clay, but that's been manipulated so it in itself isn't toxic because it collects positively and negatively charged elements. It's like if you took a magnet and ran it across the dirt, you'd pick up all that stuff off of the dirt, you'd have graphite hanging to the magnet. Well, Detox goes through the body and it pulls off those positively and negatively charged toxins and gets them to your kidneys and or your liver so that they get out of your large intestine or your bladder. So that is so important. If you're going to try to do a detox, the 11-day one at the store is, it's kind of a nice idea, but if you really want to handle dis-ease, if you want to handle chronic disease, if you want to make sure that you have a functioning brain, then you really need to dig deep and you need to do what has been studied and proven to be the most effective way to do that. Dr. Dan Pompa, Fix a Cell to Get Well. He's a good friend of mine. We spent a lot of time together. We've been to Mexico together. We're meeting in Park City again here in a few months. I talk to him every week about different types of toxins, different programs to help different people with different types of diseases. But what's really the most important and relevant point is that people are being affected by the toxins in the environment. And the buildup of the toxins inside the brain it alters the hormone production signaling. So it's like turning on a tap to get water and there's a plug in the hose. You're not getting any of those hormones. So even if you were getting enough estrogen, progesterone, testosterone coming out of your adrenal glands where it's produced, and then trying to get to your ovaries, testes, or what have you, if the receptor sites are so plugged that it can't connect to, the cells are so plugged that it can't connect to it, you're going to have the apparency of having hormone imbalances or deficiencies. So what do? You go get more hormones and you start taking hormones. Well, too much hormones, especially estrogen, can be very, very toxic. There's 3 different ways estrogen is detoxified out of your liver, and 2 of them are carcinogenic. If you are having some problems, we do a 24-hour liver test, a urine test, that looks at all of the metabolites of your hormones, estrogen, progesterone, testosterone, looks at your cortisol, DHEA, and this can help us find out, number 1, especially if you're a female, am I detoxing estrogen correctly? Do I even have the estrogen I should have? Do I have too much? And there's so much scientific stuff we can do. But I want to caution you to one thing. So many patients come in with stacks of testing done. They have blood work and this test and that test and on and on and on. They spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars at the medical doctor testing, but they haven't done any treatment yet, for crying out loud. But the whole thing just to remember is the body needs no help. It just needs no interference. So what we need to do is we need to look at the 3 stressors in your life. That's a stress triangle. Physical, that's chiropractic, looking for pinched nerves or damaged nerves from accidents, injuries, chronic position type things, birth traumas. Then the chemical, which has been most of the show, everything to do with the chemistry from the toxins to your hormones and how each cell functions correctly. And then of course the mental portion, which is what you think about, you talk about, what you talk about, you bring about. So if you're in a toxic relationship, no matter what you do physically or chemically, it's not going to help you. If you have a toxic body just filled with chemicals, no matter what you did physically or mentally is going to help you. I mean, okay, there is a variable there that the power of positive thinking or the power of the mind or the spirit, really, we've seen some amazing things, and I'm sure you've heard of them too, where people's, I had a patient come in the other day, amazing, terrible scoliosis. One of the worst I've seen in a long time. Not the worst, but she said, I was told at a young age I'd never get to do any sports, I'd never get to walk, and she was my age, 60 something years old. And she goes, I play golf every day. They weren't going to tell me that. They're not going to tell me I can't get out and live. And I said, it's probably really good that doctor told you that, because sometimes when doctors tell people that person goes, oh yeah, I'll prove you wrong. And they go out and they have an amazing life against all odds. Other times somebody's told that and they go, oh, my doctor told me I'll never walk again, and they never walk again. Now, that's part of the mental pollution that can be affecting you. So, in my book, I go into that, Turn Back Your Biological Clock. I highly recommend you get that just for fun, read it. But the one thing I know is something can be done about it. The best therapy or technique for you, the best thing to get your health back, your life back, is the number one thing is, what are you willing to do? Now, don't go down a rabbit hole on something that's a little bit cockeyed. You want to go with the science. Chiropractic is very, very scientific. Pressure on a nerve stops function. Chemistry, cell function, very, very scientific. Toxins kill life. You got to get the toxins out of the body. What you think about, you talk about. What you talk about, you bring about. I'm telling you, positive mental attitude or the will to continue. I talk about a friend of mine who passed away, Don Hershout, great guy, neighbor of mine, at his service, and he died doing something he loved, which was skiing, ultimate skis. His daughter said at his service, my dad always said one thing that will stick with me, and that is, you can always try again, but you can only quit once. You can always try again, but you can only quit once. There's so many times I felt like quitting. I'm sure so many times you felt like quitting. And the overwhelming things that come into our minds, that happen to our bodies, that, the chemicals that we get that alter our thinking. Nothing is more powerful than you who has the ability to think, perceive, dream, and seek your goals. So don't let anything else stop you. If, like Einstein says, if you keep trying the same thing and expect a different result, you're kind of kooky. So if you've been trying to get healthy and you're not getting the results, give us a call. McCollum Family Chiropractic, 831-459-9990. You can go to McCollumWellness.com and fill out the neurotoxic questionnaire. McCollumWellness.com, fill out the neurotoxic questionnaire. And if you send it in, I will do a 20-minute phone call with you no charge. But don't call me and say, I want to talk to the doctor without filling that out, because it's a waste of your time and mine. I want to do what I can to help you, but I need some facts to go on first. So this has been a really, well, I've had fun anyway. I love talking on KSCO. I think it's an amazing radio station. I don't think there's anything else like it, that you can come on here and say your piece. And I appreciate everybody out there listening. I love it when you come in to see me and you come into the office and go, Dr. McCollum, I've been listening to you a while. It's so glad to finally meet you. And it is fun. So it's great to see you guys and listen, have you listen. Tell your friends, people you know that just feel like they're, they just don't have it in them to try anymore. Just tell them you can always try again. You can only quit once. Maybe we can help them. If I don't think I can, I'll send them somewhere else. If you're interested in doing the detox, just call the office or email info@McCollum Wellness, or call the office 459-9990, 831-459-9990. We have an ongoing group of people that are starting every week. And it's we've seen some pretty good changes. Again, you came into this life already toxic with 4 generations of toxins, heavy metals, and chemicals through your mom's umbilical blood. So it's not like one pill solves everything. And some of us are more susceptible to disease than others based on our genetic predilection and how many toxins we have in our body. So there's never too late to start. And if you're interested in doing such, then we're going to do everything we can to help you. Happy Mother's Day to all you mothers out there. I hope you all have a great day. And again, thanks for voting us best chiropractor in Santa Cruz and next best local author. Hopefully I will bridge that gap and get the best local author. But if you don't read my book, you won't know to vote for me. So appreciate you all being out there. And appreciate the KSCO staff. They're always doing their best. If you haven't been by the station, come by, say hi to the people here, make a donation to keep them open. A lot of the shows could use your help. And I would love to meet you in my office. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum. We'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.